Good morning, everybody. Today is the day PhotoJoseph was coming into town, and we were planning to do a lot of testing, and we will be doing a lot of testing. I also hired out a couple to shoot this evening, kind of like a like a wedding videographer would, and then somebody else to come in, kind of like a makeup beauty show type shots that I get surprisingly asked about a lot. There's a lot of girls who want to make beauty videos and they want to know what camera will autofocus for that. Unfortunately, it was supposed to be pretty decent today. I shot a time lapse this morning, but now, as you guys can see, it's snowing and the forecast doesn't look good. So I don't know what we're gonna be able to do. We're gonna go to a skate park and shoot some skaters for some action and sports type shots, kind of simulate that. So we'll see. I'm still gonna be optimistic. I really would have liked some nice weather, but you know, we're gonna go with it and see what we can do. All right, guys, so we're on our way to the airport to pick up PhotoJoseph. For those of you guys who don't know, we had a couple videos where we made a video, then he made a video saying we were doing everything kind of wrong. We didn't understand the autofocusing system. It's really complex. It takes a lot to understand it, and we kind of were rushing everything. We don't agree with kind of any of that, so I made a video calling him out and offering if he kind of understands it and he can show us how to properly use it and get the best out of it and make it usable in real world situations. Basically offering to pay for his flight and hotel to fly up here to Spokane and spend the day with us and test it out and show us, you know, how to use it properly and hopefully get good results out of it. So he accepted the offer. We're gonna go pick him up right now. You vlogging?
Why not?
Nice to meet you, man. Yeah. This is Vadim. I don't know if you know his name.
Vadim, yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to call him by name now in the videos.
Not just
People are like, don't call him assistant. Yeah, so he's Vadim. Yeah. Well, let's throw your stuff in the trunk.
Thank you for coming to pick me up. Thanks for
Yeah.
This is gonna be a blast. Okay, let's figure out where the comments are in this. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment. I am here with Max. I made it to Spokane, Washington.
Yep.
Early flight this morning. 5:30 start. Got me here at 9 o'clock and time to do the show.
Yeah,
Max, thank you so much for having me to your town.
No problem. Thank you for accepting and for coming.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for. I mean, this is great. I think what started off as a little mini rivalry is going to turn into something really beneficial to the entire audience.
Like, I'm not planning to sell my GH5. A lot of times I'll get loaners in, but with the GH5, I know it offers so much. I'm buying it right away. I didn't request a loaner or whatever. I knew I'm going to be using this camera for a variety of uses. So I want to find the optimal settings for you guys who do need to use the autofocus, and that's including me.
Yeah, so we're just going to kind of pool our footage together, and we've got Vadim here shooting behind the scenes, so we're going to get some of that. I might stick the camera on the sticks and put a little behind the scenes. So we'll each have different videos on our channel that cover today's activities. We'll give you guys two different things to watch. But yeah, that's the general plan. So,
yeah. All right, guys, so we finished up here. We're gonna head out to the office and start playing with some settings and using the camera, and we're gonna start rolling.
See what we can do.
Yeah, if it stays like this, we could still work with a couple and do shots and stuff, as long as that thunderstorm doesn't happen that you live in.
It's only 20,000. My mentality is that's just what you do.
But before that, here.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I'll be nice on camera. All right, guys, so we're here with our first kind of a real world scenario where it's nice to have continuous autofocus. So this is kind of like a YouTube beauty makeup tutorial type of a channel setup. And so I actually get asked about this quite a bit, what camera they should use, because they want it to track their face while they're doing makeup and stuff. And then also when they put an object to show off a certain makeup item, the camera can grab on, they can show it off and then go back to their face. And interestingly enough, we're actually working with a client. So Vadim and I were doing some beauty videos. So we're actually in the same situation here. And our client wants some bokeh in the background because she saw some other channels that have it and she really liked it. But at the same time, we need to be able to track her, especially when it's close to her face, when she's moving in and out, doing her thing, and then showing off products. So we have a 48-inch softbox, like a reflector, some lights in the background, and we have 2 GH5 set up, both of ours. Yours has that really nice 42.5 1.2.
The Nocticron, right?
Yeah, so that we can get some nice bokeh. The 12 to 35 2.8 is on my camera, so we're going to be shooting
the Mark II, right? The new version.
The Mark II, yep.
Right.
We're shooting side by side, so that one doesn't have as much bokeh. You guys will see the difference. But we're going to go through, shoot some scenarios, see what works the best, and a little bit later, we have somebody coming in to actually do the final kind of sample video clips. So it's not just us pretending to do beauty stuff. I notice it's more like responsive in the 60. Okay, I'm going to hit the shutter. Okay, there you go. It grabbed on.
When you hit the shutter.
As soon as I hit the shutter, I just smoothly grabbed on. Okay, Vadim, are you ready? So we can put it down. Good. Put it down. Okay, it saw your face right away, and okay, I'm back on here.
Yeah, so am I. It moved quite slowly. I mean, I'm expecting this lens to move more slowly. We didn't. We should put up a card that says what our settings are too at the beginning of each shot. We didn't do that.
I mean, so our sensitivity is at -2, which when he brought the lens up, it stopped tracking the face, so it saw that the face is no longer there, but it wouldn't switch.
Right.
So my guess is the sensitivity should go up because it's just staying locked onto his
Right, it's staying locked onto where it thinks it should be.
And the speed, when it shifted back to his face, it was quite quick. I mean, that's at least my understanding. The speed is how fast it shifts. The sensitivity is when it will shift. It no longer like recognizes the face, but it's not.
But it's not responding to it. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's change the responsiveness then.
Same thing on yours then?
Yeah, let's do the same thing because I want to see the two different lenses, how they behave differently as well. So we're going to take sensitivity up. We're going to go up to +2.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about
yours? Still not going. I have a feeling that the face detection is not the way to go on this.
Yeah, let's. So.
We could try 225.
Yeah. 225 let's try the 225.
All right, you want to do, go back a little bit more again, and then go forward whenever you're... Okay, yeah, that's probably good right there. And then you can grab the lens. And then try holding it like this. Or go forward more, yeah, like you're... that's probably about the limit. Yeah, mine's grabbing on pretty good. Okay, now put it down. And yeah, maybe like 3 seconds, but it went onto your face.
It's all on,
yeah. How about yours?
It's good. It's holding it, but I'm watching the background and I'm seeing pulsing. So I think that's the speed.
Yeah, put it up one more time, like from this point.
Yeah, it moved pretty quickly. It seems to be holding under nicely, and I'm not getting the pulsing either.
Yeah, go forward a little bit another time. So it's like, this is your regular.
It moved right into it. Why isn't it going?
Keep holding it, because, all right, mine picked it up. What about yours?
Yeah, let's bring the sensitivity up even higher. This is working really well. When you were holding it up in front of you and moving it, it did. And as you're moving back and forth, it's really doing a good job.
It detects some motion.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I do see the...
Probably reflections off the light.
Oh, shit, see, now it's not even going.
Contrast sees it a little bit.
Well, there's a good amount of contrast, too. The reason why I grabbed a black object instead of silver or white, because his face is, bright and the lens is dark, so the contrast is pretty good.
You want me to keep it still or move it?
You can keep it still for a little bit and then move it, because that's, I'm sure, I don't know if they twist it or not, but not in focus yet. I thought it looked like it was going to go, but there you go. It got on.
Got it.
Mine got on. And then coming back, now, yeah. About 2-3 seconds maybe, but I think that's reasonable coming back to it.
It's making the decision to move very quickly, but the actual focus time is quite slow. So,
and mine is the opposite. When it focuses, it seems to focus. Doesn't take too long to do the actual shift, but it's taking 6, 7, 8 seconds to decide to do, even though he's twisting it around in his hand. So did you cut your clip?
I did. And you are at -5 + 3.
I hope so. Yep, -5 + 3.
Okay, I'm going to try, I want to take the speed all the way the other direction. And just see, all the way up. Rolling. All right, +5 + 3. Yeah, I'm definitely getting pulsing, and it doesn't seem like it's changing any better.
I thought I got a little bit, but it is, with my bokeh balls are not very, I mean,
Right.
it's almost just light, so it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, it's staying on. I mean, this is the mode that we found the best to stay on a subject.
Mm-hmm.
So it's staying on fairly well.
So it's
Okay.
switching quickly now.
Mine is not. Mine didn't switch.
Okay.
I think you had it. I didn't. Yeah, keep it up. So we'll see how long it takes. Mine is not doing it. Okay, just hold it like this. I mean, it's lit well. It's contrasted. Okay, I got it. And put it back on your face.
Back to his face.
Yeah. It almost seemed like it went to back on just for a little bit, but back. It wasn't bad.
Mm.
Like I would say it's probably usable in that situation, but
Closer.
I mean, maybe you have to fine tune it per lens to find, because it seems like you said yours, the old settings, I think the second settings work quite well for this one, but this works the best for yours.
The focus is happening nice and quickly here, but I am getting pulsing. So that's...
Oh, you are getting
Yeah. I'm definitely getting some pulsing here. 'Cause the speed is all the way up right now.
Oh yeah, I see. But the actual focusing itself. So stay at that distance. Oh yeah, I see it on the screen now the most. So this tracks the best and is the most responsive, but we have the pulsing.
We have
too.
the pulsing, yeah.
Are you feeling bored yet?
Hey, I get it.
We spent literally 8 hours on Monday, and then basically almost 8 hours on Tuesday doing the half-hour video. And it's slower. I mean, it's still getting him, but before it stayed on him pretty well.
Right.
Mine's just slower now. So at the beginning we were thinking your lens is worse, but maybe it's better. I don't know. And then this is the version 2 as well. Okay, it got it. I mean, it picks it up. It just takes, I don't know, depending on the shot, 5 to 6 to 7 seconds probably to pick it up. And it goes back to your face fairly well.
So I think we have a conclusion of sorts on here. This is working really nicely now, and I'm not getting a tiny bit of pulsing there. Okay, I'm going to stop rolling. I think the conclusion for this type of setup is the sensitivity we want way up. We want it to be responsive because obviously you're changing up, down, you need it to change. And the speed is really, it's a fine line of what your bokeh is like. If you've got really shallow depth of field, then you do need to slow it down a little bit because you're going to see the pulsing. If you don't have as much shallow depth of field, you can get away with having a faster focus speed.
Which is like on this lens.
Right, on that lens.
So we're like a f5.6 equivalent in full frame, or I don't shoot full frame. I like the APS-C size, so that would be like a f4 on a, because that's what like the cinema uses. But like with the full frame, a lot of times you have so little in focus. Because can you imagine shooting an f1.8 on a full frame for something like this?
Right. So we just finished a test where we're simulating a kind of beauty video environment. So we've got someone sitting on camera front and center. They're doing makeup, leaning back and forth a little bit and holding up an object in front of their face that they want to show off. And one of the interesting things that we learned, well, first of all, the obvious thing is sensitivity. By having it more sensitive, it's more likely to quickly want to change as an object goes up,
And
goes down.
see any change.
Right. Pick up any change that's happening in the scene. Something comes in, it should grab that. Take it down, it should grab that as well. So in this case, setting the sensitivity all the way up, so that would be to, what is that, +3 responsive, worked out really well. But the speed was different. That was an interesting thing that we learned here.
And I saw it was different between the lenses too. I think when we first started out, mine seemed to do better.
So it is a balancing act, and there is no one setting. It really does depend on the lens. So on yours, you're able to get away with a little bit faster speed because you're not seeing the pulsing.
I didn't see the pulsing, but like the final one was, I think it's slightly too slow. Like it was like 5-6 seconds to lock on, where yours was under the same settings, even though it's shallower. It was going much faster, right? Much faster than the other object. Going back to the face, it was pretty quick. And then also we used I guess we probably maybe mentioned it a little bit, we use the column. We use that custom option to select the column. So it's ignoring any of the background on the sides or the bokeh, just looking at the face.
Yeah, we tried it with the face detection, and face detection works great for the face part, but picking up the object, usually wasn't grabbing onto it. It would sometimes, but it was less reliable than when we went into the 225 zone. And in the 225 zone, you can paint in the area that you want. So you can choose, there's a built-in preset for kind of a center area, which probably would have worked as well, but we just painted in the entire center column where the subject would be coming up and down with the hand, and that seemed to work really well.
I've actually heard something too through the grapevine, is that the 225 mode has the most horsepower behind it compared to the other face tracking and other modes.
Okay, that I don't know anything about.
Yeah, but I think that's the way to go. You're in a controlled environment. Like you're not like you're vlogging and you're moving your camera around. A scenario like this, always tripod person, you might as well paint in exactly where it should look.
Right, exactly.
To get the best options.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, paint in the area where you know things are going to be moving, so you're only focusing on that area for focus. Set the sensitivity way up so that it is going to see that object and quickly want to change to it. And then the speed is something you will have to test depending on your lens, the background, how far the background is, what aperture you're shooting at. You want it as fast as possible, but if it's too fast, you will see some pulsing, so then you need to back it off a little bit.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah, so on this Nocticron, for this setting, I had the AF speed at 0, and that worked out really, really well. If I went any faster than that, you would start to see a little bit of pulsing, which is not good.
And for mine, I really can't tell yet. I think maybe once we look at it, like looking on the computer.
Right, because this background distance is not that far, so his bokeh isn't. We're looking at these little tiny points of light.
Slightly over the LED, maybe slightly bigger than the LED.
Right, right. Whereas this, we're getting really nice big bokeh balls on there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So sensitivity up and speed just depends on the lens. You got to play with it. Okay, hold that there.
Am I supposed to talk? Because I didn't want to.
A little bit higher. Okay, mine locked on. Okay, lower. Sorry, a little bit lower. Yeah, mine actually this time went on really well.
And mine still hasn't.
Go a little bit to that way. Yeah, so now
there it goes. Oh, because you know what? It was probably out of the range of the little target that I set up.
Yeah, so put it down right now, and then. No, it's definitely in range now. It's covering your face. Mine.
Finally, there it went.
Mine went on. Okay, both of ours went on.
That took way too long.
I didn't like you doing that. Mine didn't. Yours is fine. Lost. And I have the same coverage as yours, like this spot. Mine lost it.
Is your coverage right over her face, or is it up at the top?
Over her face, yeah.
Huh.
Can you go forward? Just lean forward a little bit. Let me see if it picks it up.
Because
yours stayed on. I mean, is it in photos that it's slow at autofocus?
Yeah.
Because in video, it seems to be doing much better. I mean, so watch. I'm going to press it down. Nope, it's not. Why is it staying in the background? Can you move backwards a little bit?
The heck? Yours is weird.
Usually when you press down the shutter, it grabs you right away.
Mine's still holding.
Okay, so beauty shooters get the Nocticron, even though it's $1,500 or $1,600.
Yeah, well, that's what they should do anyway. Mine's on.
This thing's not on.
Actually, is it?
There you go. So we're using a different lens. All right, put it down. And
boom. Why don't you try your old 12 to 35? I wonder if maybe it's that lens.
But most of the testing we did on our video, on the half-hour one, was with the old lens, right? Pretty sure it was with the lens. Oh yeah, only at the very end of the video we got the new lens in, and then we tested it side by side, and it was everything was basically identical, except for like some at the 4K 60, the micro jitter in the background. Other than that, it seemed identical. Put it a little bit this way.
There it goes.
Okay, put it down.
Yeah, when she hits the target on the camera, it is locking in.
Go show higher, or do it again.
Yeah, there it goes.
I don't know what it is, but this thing is much snappier than the new one. Okay, put it down. You saw how the new one was acting, right? Okay, put it up again. Watch this.
Whoa.
That is ridiculous. Did you see how fast that was?
Yeah.
Okay,
go down.
Put it back down. That is like a huge difference.
It is.
Okay, we're gonna give you the lens because we were shooting for a while with Vadim. With that, can you give her that 50?
Yeah. Use that as your object. Thank you.
Okay. Maybe that object is just really easy if it's flat and it's big. Yours locked on, now mine's. Okay, try it again. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely where her face is. Okay, there you go. I picked it up that time. Okay, put it down. And then put it back up.
My focus area, she's a little bit off of my focus area. I wonder, can I change that one?
This lens I've had for a few years. It's been dropped. It's been knocked over. It has a little nick on it. And it's...
Where's the
All right, go ahead. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Just doesn't work with Vadim. When you're there, we spent so much time tweaking it.
No, we
And take it
didn't
down?
try it off yet.
Yeah, we didn't try off, but the previous settings
It's
seem to work really well.
It's like...
It only lets girls do beauty.
Well, that's fascinating. The next step of our little adventure here is to test vlogging style. So we're starting right now in the car, heading back from lunch to see how this whole vlogging thing works with this camera.
All right, guys, so we're outside here. We're gonna do kind of the second scenario, which is vlog style recording. We see this all the time in vlog where a person's recording themselves and then they either have somebody that they know coming up to them and then, or they're gonna come up to them to meet them. So at the farther end here, we're gonna start off recording ourselves, see how it tracks and stays on the face, and then getting about halfway, we're gonna flip the camera around and we're gonna continue walking to Vadim and see how it grabs onto him and how we can keep focus. We're starting at the default, which is like the off, so custom off.
Yeah, we're gonna try a variety of custom settings, and you don't need to see them all. We'll tell you which ones are the most successful, but we are starting with it completely off. So it's straight out of the box, no custom settings. Yeah. And let's just see how the camera performs natively like that.
Yeah, when somebody just gets the camera and goes out to shoot right away. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're using face detection, right?
Yes.
Yes, we'll go face detection because, of course, when you're on yourself, obviously you got the face there. And also, I think it's worth pointing out, just like you would be if you're vlogging, I'm not going to hold the camera and just sit around expecting that it's going to find the focus immediately. I'm holding it. I have no problem reaching up and hitting that shutter button halfway to make sure it locks focus right away. Now, once we're walking towards somebody, like when we come up to Vadim and approaching him,
then it needs to track.
The camera needs to track, right? But when I'm walking around like this, as soon as I point it at me, I'm going to hit it, let it focus on me. Obviously, it should hold as I move around and not jump to the background.
Yeah, and actually in our test we weren't pressing the shutter because as soon as you press the shutter, it actually knows quite quickly what it wants to do.
Right.
But I think it's reasonable to expect, you're holding it, you can set it to focus on yourself.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
That's what we're gonna do.
Let's give it a try. Autofocus custom settings are off. Auto ISO, auto shutter speed, aperture priority.
Face.
Except for, face detection, but aperture priority, wide open f2.8. All right. Ready? Walking and vlogging. Here we are again. Face detection is on. Custom settings are off. There's my friend. Let's turn around and look at my friend. Oh, I don't have the. Found his face. Presumably it's focusing. Don't actually know.
All right, guys. So this is a real-world vlog type shot. So we left everything in default. I'm gonna go back a little bit here. We left everything in default and it seemed to do much better than actually tweaking any of the settings. So I'm just gonna do a longer version of this and we'll see how it keeps up. This is in the face tracking, so more of a real world scenario. The shorter tests seem to do really well. So I'll walk in and meet up with Joseph up there. What's up, Vadim?
Hey.
faces.
So I
Confuses it now?
I think there may be a difference because it seemed like this time it didn't. When he was walking to me, it didn't pick him up as well.
That's what I was just playing with. I switched over to the 225 and it might work better. It's too hard to tell.
All right, so now we're gonna simulate kind of a bride walking down the aisle scenario. So she's gonna walk kind of sideways and then come up straight towards us, and we'll see how the camera will track. Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Is yours grabbing on at all? Mine is not grabbing on. It grabbed on now.
This time it's not grabbing her.
This time mine's grabbing her. This has been the best one for me.
Mine never grabbed her. Nope, not once. Okay, it's got her.
Yeah, as soon as the face caught on, it went out. But then it's on now.
It's got her and it's got the face.
Oh, I forgot to zoom out.
That held until she got real close. Well, this time it's not grabbing her.
This time mine's grabbing her. This has been the best one for me.
Mine never grabbed her.
All right, Nika, go ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely not. Let me try switching over to one of the customs. Let me see what my notes have for. Got it? Okay.
Mine did worse that time.
It did pretty well once it found her face, which obviously she has to get pretty close.
Can I try this again just for mine? I'm going to take it off of the custom. I'm going to just go back to off.
Okay.
So this is like a, I don't know, at least for me, this is a third scenario where just that whole menu off is working better
Okay.
than, well, at least
Are you in
we haven't
face
tried-
detection now?
Face.
Face, okay.
The tracking was being pretty weird. Like it would see the face, but it would go out.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, in the previous test, it didn't seem to do too well. But the face with the off has done the best.
Okay.
All right, guys, so we're here at the skate park. We were planning to come up and shoot some action. This was gonna be like an action sports type thing with fast moving subjects.
That was the plan.
And the weather was pretty good when we were leaving up here. When we got mostly here.
The sun was out when we left
Yes.
your office.
And then it started raining, and then it started hailing. And then when I first saw the skate park when we were pulling up, there were like at least probably 3 people, maybe 3, 4. And when we turned around and parked, the last guy was leaving. And now there's no more hail, there's no more rain, but there's also nobody here.
There's somebody over there skating undercover. Maybe they'll come back.
Yeah, so we're gonna be just, this is gonna be the first time we're gonna play with the gimbal. We're gonna see how it works, maybe see if we need to tweak any settings from the custom off mode. Maybe we'll try to tweak something, do a little practice, hang out a little bit before we go downtown and meet with our couple. Hopefully some skaters come back.
Yeah, hopefully.
So.
I'm anxious to see how the gimbal works. This
Yes.
is gonna be cool.
Yeah, it's not grabbing on yet. You know, I just switched it to 24p and it just stayed on the background. Let me switch it back to 4K 60. Never mind, the 60 is doing the same thing. Yeah, I think it did worse than the off.
Really?
How was it for you that time?
Better, but I also set the focus area to just the center top.
Let me hold the shutter. Okay, there you go, grabbed on. And, all right, let's walk maybe. I just want to see if it stays. Thank you. Stay there, Vadim. It's got the eye. No, okay, there we go. And it's hailing. Let's get back in the car. Fuck on. K24. This is not minimal focusing distance. So right now we're out in the park. We have a couple with us, so we're gonna kind of simulate a wedding type of scenario. And I'm using the face tracking with the custom settings off, which has worked so far really the best for us. And we're gonna do some gimbal shots at the little scenario and we'll see how it goes. All right, good to go. 1.
time is it?
Yeah, I don't have my Apple Watch.
It's
11:30 or something around there.
It is. Yeah, it's 11:30.
Yeah.
It's been a very long day. It's been a very long day, but it's been a very productive day. We have both learned a lot.
And an eventful day.
An eventful day. And a very wet day. A very cold day.
And hail and snow. So we both kind of, I think we both had our own, we both came up with that we met in the middle.
Yeah.
I think we both actually had kind of the same thought. So when I went into this, from the testing we did in the past, I didn't think the GH5 had usable autofocus. But going through tweaking the settings, trying stuff out, all these different real world scenarios that we tried out, now my mindset has changed.
What did we try out today? We set up some actual real world stuff, like by a lot of your viewers' requests, right? The makeup YouTuber scenario, sitting in front of
pretty much real
backdrop.
people. Yeah, either something I'm doing myself and I know other people are doing, or what I don't do, what other people do.
Right.
So the beauty, wedding stuff, vlogging, gimbal.
Right.
Maybe more
walking
stuff.
towards the camera. Yeah, we tried out a lot of different scenarios and played with the settings a lot.
So like we said, we met in the middle. My mindset shifted. So before I didn't think it was usable. Now going through just different tests and stuff, I was actually quite surprised. We tried out a lot of different settings, and my conclusion is that custom autofocus, having it in the off position, actually did as good as the settings that we found, the best settings we found, or better in a lot of cases.
Now, I have absolutely no idea whether the algorithm's the same or if it's tweaked for the GH5 when it's off or what. That's something we just don't know. But the fact remains, when it was off...
Yeah, I will say it was performing impressively well. And we probably agree that the phase tracking, then that converts to the wide, that seemed to be working the best from what we tried. And also the box where you can draw your own pixels to ignore other areas, like in the beauty. I think that made
really, really good sense there.
So I guess to sum it up, our conclusion is we met in the middle.
We met in the middle, yeah.
So I want to butt into this conclusion for a few minutes and add a little bit of additional information. First off, a huge shout out to Vadim, even though he is my employee. This was, over a 15-hour day, and a lot of time we had 3 cameras rolling and audio recorders, and this is probably the most boring edit that he's ever done. And of course, we're taking 15 hours of shooting and putting it down to, I think 35 minutes is the actual, main part without the conclusion. So we cut out a lot. We typically try to show kind of more the end result of things and the best settings. And overall, even the best settings we found, like you guys heard us say already, custom off worked better. So that was a huge kind of eye-opener. And overall, I was quite impressed with some of the tracking capabilities when we had that custom off. And of course, that 60p. I do want to mention that we tried marking everything that was 24p, so you guys would know. And in previous tests, and same thing, PhotoJoseph kind of said this as well, the 60p works a lot better than the 24p. So if you're going to do continuous autofocus, put it in that 60p mode. Personally, I shoot pretty much everything in 24p, so it's a little bit different for me. But if you have good light, you can shoot at 60 and then conform it to 24 if that's what you prefer. Of course, you're not going to get some of that cinematic motion blur. The biggest kind of problem I see with the 60 is when you're in low light. So let's say like wedding ceremonies, receptions if it's dim, or like the wine bar you guys saw. If you're shooting at 60p, your shutter has to be doubled out, 1/25th, and then your ISO goes through the roof, like 12,800. That's why I ended up going lower. I think Joseph stayed at 60 and I went down to 24. Then the autofocus performs worse. So keep that in mind and set what you need for the specific kind of scenario. Now, as far as myself personally, and don't take this to heart, for gimbal use, I'm not going to be using the GH5, at least at this point, and I'll talk about what Panasonic said after this, but I shoot at weddings, so I can't really redo any moves. I can't do a lot of do-overs. It's just everything's going like this. So I really need to make sure I can trust the camera completely. And a lot of the shots you guys saw on gimbal, they worked really well at 60p with custom off. But some of them, they didn't do so well. And a lot of times when you're shooting, most people, they can redo a couple shots and then choose the one that worked properly. At a wedding, for example, I can't really do that. And a lot of times, like what happened with this whole thing, on the rear screen, it looks like everything's really good in focus, but when you get back to edit, that's when it's more difficult because you see everything blown up. So for myself, I can't do it on a gimbal, but a lot of the other cases you can use it. And another helpful tip that Joseph brought up is when you're holding a camera in your hand and you're using continuous and you can press down on the shutter button, it will like automatically like lock on and it knows what it's looking for. And I don't know if it's a different autofocusing system that comes into play there, but it's like it's out of focus, it's holding on the background or something, you press down on the shutter, bam, it grabs onto the face. So make use of that if you have control of the camera, or even if you're vlogging, if you can press down on the shutter, it'll grab on your face a lot faster and more accurate. And then when you flip it around to say to record a friend coming up, you're going somewhere else, hit that shutter button again, as long as you don't mind the, the little pulsing you get like you do in the photo mode, because it will lock on. And since I'm mentioning this, I am going to be making a video on how to use this camera without autofocus and showing off some of the great manual focus assist features and also the app that Panasonic has. And Panasonic has the best app out of any camera company. I probably couldn't even say by far. It works very well. It allows you to pull focus and set focus to manual. So very cool, and we're gonna cover that as well. So the last thing I kind of want to cover is probably the best news. Panasonic did put out an official statement, and I'll put it over on the side so you guys can see it, and also link to PhotoJoseph's video. It's pretty short, but if you guys want to watch him talk about it. Basically, they suggest 30 and 60 for autofocus using the 1 point. And then they say if you're using 24, also use kind of the 1 point autofocusing. And that makes sense because when the camera's just looking at 1 point on the screen, it's ignoring everything else and it knows that's where it needs to focus. So you're literally just telling it what it needs to do. And it does work well. In some of our comparisons to the A6500, we had to select that to get usable results, and it did work well. You guys can check that video out. The hard thing with that is in the situation where you're continuous autofocusing, you don't have as much control, which is why you should use continuous or why you'd want to, but you really have to be very careful to keep that spot on the person or on your subject, and then hopefully your subject doesn't get out where you don't go off if you're trying to track them. But it does work well, and that's what they recommend. Now the biggest thing is they said that they are working on improving the continuous autofocusing. They did say that, so that's great. It's awesome when a company wants to respond and work to improve different things that they can. Hopefully it's a software thing and they can get this working even better. And if they do, I will be covering that as well. So that's basically the conclusion. It was a crazy long day. The weather did not cooperate. A lot of stuff didn't work out that we wanted to shoot, but you guys saw a lot of testing, a lot of good footage. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. If you guys have any questions, I definitely want to hear them out. And I'll take it back to the ending of the video.
Thanks a lot for joining us on this journey, folks. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.